You thought the forest was yours. It never was. Humans have a peculiar way of believing they own what they merely trespass upon. You call it nature, as if it's some passive thing to be tamed and conquered. I've watched for centuries, shifting with the dark soil and hollow trees, biding time. The deeper you walk into these woods, the deeper you step into me. Your kind made the mistake of sending him, the ranger, the caretaker, the protector. For years, I let him roam unchallenged, listening to his pathetic attempts at control. The way he'd whistle, the crunch of his boots on the dead leaves. He never understood. None of them do. Until that night. I remember him vividly, his scent, his pulse, the whispers of his thoughts as he stumbled further into my domain. A storm was brewing, the air electric with anticipation. He came prepared, or so he thought, with his lantern and his gun, as if such things could defend him. It was laughable, really. He was seeking something, some disturbance the locals had reported. Strange sounds, missing pets, a distant glow that flickered between the trees. They didn't know it was me. Not yet. He was alone. That's how I prefer it. When they're alone, the fear sinks deeper. He reached the clearing, my clearing, where the trees bend unnaturally, their trunks twisted, their branches clawing at the sky like desperate fingers. The animals avoid this place. Even the insects dare not trespass. But he, in his arrogance, stepped right in. I watched from the shadows, a shape that wasn't there, a void in the natural order. His breath quickened, the scent of his sweat rising, though he tried to remain calm. He felt me before he saw me. They always do. I am ancient, woven into the very roots of this place. I am no mere creature of flesh. I am the cold that gnaws at your bones. I am the rustle in the bushes that makes you question your safety. I am the eyes that watch when you think you're alone. My hunger has been growing for years, fed by whispers in the wind, by the dark thoughts lurking in the minds of the lost. That night, I would finally feast. He saw me then, only a glimpse at first, a pair of glowing eyes, red as embers in the gloom, reflecting the light of his lantern. His heart raced, and the rush of it, the thumping, made my mouth water. Fear tastes so sweet. He muttered something, some futile command for me to show myself. I could have laughed, but I don't need such human expressions. Instead, I moved forward, letting him see what had been lurking in his beloved woods all this time. The look on his face, the wide eyes, the mouth hanging open, was delicious. I stretched taller than he ever imagined, horns curling from my head, skin dark and leathery, a mass of shadow and nightmare. My body was both physical and not, twisting, ever-changing, just like the forest itself. He fired his gun. I let him. It's amusing when they try. The bullets passed through me, thudding uselessly into the trees behind. "Run," I whispered, and oh how he ran. He stumbled through the forest, gasping for breath, branches slashing at his arms, his face. The lantern flickered, then died. Darkness swallowed him whole. But I didn't need to see him. I felt him. His fear soaked the ground, calling me forward. I was everywhere now, surrounding him, my voice in the wind, my presence in the very earth beneath his feet. I was patient. I let him believe he had a chance. But deep down, he knew, just as they all do, that this was where his life ended. When he tripped, when he fell to the cold forest floor, sobbing, begging for mercy, I was already there, crouching low, savoring the moment. His eyes searched wildly for me, but I was in the shadows, just out of reach, a shape that was too terrible to comprehend. "I've watched you for years," I whispered, my voice low and rumbling like distant thunder. "You think you own this place, but the forest doesn't belong to you. You belong to it." His terror was intoxicating. I could feel his soul trembling inside him, desperate to flee his mortal body. With each second, his panic deepened as his mind struggled to understand what was happening. He screamed, but it was swallowed by the trees. Out here, no one would hear him, no one would come. And so, I took him. When the search parties came, they found nothing but his hat, abandoned in the clearing, covered in a fine layer of dew. They spoke of wild animals and accidents, of getting lost in the storm. The forest ranger who had patrolled these woods for years was simply gone. A mystery. But you and I know the truth, don't we? These woods are ancient. They are alive, and they hunger. I am the keeper of this place, and now I am him. He walks again, in his ranger's uniform, with his gun and his whistle. But the eyes, they're mine. The smile, when it comes, is far too wide. His voice is smooth but hollow, guiding hikers down paths they should never take, because the forest always needs more. And you? You'll come here someday, thinking it's just a hike, just a place to explore. You'll smile at the ranger, not realizing the predator behind the mask. I will be waiting, and when you're deep enough, when you've wandered far from the safety of the trail, I'll show you what true fear feels like. After all, these woods aren't yours. They're mine.